Greetings, friends. Welcome to the RPG Maker General Podcast, or the rpgmg. Remember, in time, a successor will come.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the RPG Maker General Podcast, or the rpgmg. This is Cody, aka Marpix, and with me today are the Red Mage.
Hello, hello.
And after a long absence, my co-star on Defeat the Darkness, Adam.
Good evening.
Hello. So, first we're going to get the news out of the way. Not much in the RPG Maker realm as usual, but this weekend, E3, bitches!
Hell yeah.
Yes, it is.
So,
yes, it has been.
So, in 30 words or less, we all agree that Sony won?
It sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, except for... My favorite part, though, was just when they had all the Crash stuff going on, and everybody was really excited there's going to be a new Crash game, and then it was just, all the games are available. And then there was just kind of like a dead silence for like the remainder of that thing. But beyond that was like the lowest point. But everything else Sony did was pretty excellent.
Crash Bandicoot is coming back out again. You're welcome.
Well, the thing that really surprised me was seeing a new God of War game. Because literally, I swear, earlier that day I was thinking about, man, where's God of War? Haven't we seen a new God of War game for PS4? And originally I thought that we weren't going to see one because it sounded like that the team, Sony Santa Monica, it sounded like they were working on The Order 1886. And I don't have enough time in my day to tell you why that game is garbage. So, I'm glad we have one now, and it looks like they're doing what they...
Yeah, we have Dad of War now.
Yeah, and it's interesting, because that's kind of what they said that they were originally going to do after God of War 3 anyway, was, well, the Greek pantheon's dead, let's kill the Norse one! I had no idea Kratos was such a militant atheist.
I mean, you gotta just keep moving up. Eventually, it'll be really good if they do anything with the, the Christian mythos.
That would be funny. I would play a boss fight against Jesus.
Well, if you play enough JRPGs, you will have done that, 20, 30 times.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true.
It's nothing new to us. I mean, come on.
Man, that would be a fun game, though. I could imagine, anime Kratos, he's got the blue hair. And, his weapons are just as ridiculous, so you wouldn't have to change those at all.
Exactly.
That's true.
You would have, Jesus come out of the tomb after 3 days, just kicks the boulder out of the way.
So, Kratos, you want to fight?
Oh, man. Yeah, and Kojima, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Kojima. I am so happy he's back. Because here's a fun fact. I was one of those people that when I got Metal Gear Solid 5, I actually crossed out Konami and wrote Kojima on my game box. No, really. I did it.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, it is Kojima's game. Konami, as soon as MGS5 released, they flipped over and went, psych, now we're just doing pinball and pachinko.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next Metal Gear Solid game, by the way, is a pachinko machine.
God.
That's terrible.
That's really disappointing and depressing on so many levels.
I can only imagine what they're going to do with Suikoden. They're going to have 108 different pachinko machines.
You gotta play each one and get a special punch on it, and then when you collect all 108, you get a little prize.
Suikoden? Suika didn't.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
I don't know. I'm curious if he's gonna do something similar to an Afgang, and who left Capcom, made Mighty Number 9. So I'm wondering if he's gonna do something in the same vein as Metal Gear Solid, but slightly different.
Because unlike the Mega Man guy, didn't he have to go to Kickstarter?
Yeah, he did.
To get funded? Well, as the last time I checked, Kojima just got straight picked up by Sony. He is Sony's baby now.
Nice.
Yep. So he doesn't have to ask for funding from anybody other than Sony.
Yeah, they're bankrolling him.
Yeah, because, there's really? You're going to drop this guy after all these years of making great games? Okay, we'll take him. You're done with him.
Anyhow, so, Project Progress. Defeat the Darkness is going slow as always.
Yes.
I got the final script into our last voice actor's hands, so they should be getting that done at some point here. I don't think the script is going to go through any more changes. That should be the very definitely final script. And
right.
the ending is much better than what everyone got 2 years ago in the original script. I don't know if they're going to agree with the changes, but I think, like, it's looking back at the original script, it's very clear I rushed it. And there were jokes that didn't need to be there, so there was a couple things I cut out, and nobody missed them.
Right. Well, I need to record new dialogue.
You will, yes.
Okay, that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, because that's funny. Like, Milia's voice actor saw the script before you did.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
I'm not keeping secrets, I swear.
I own 43% of this project, all right? I deserve to see it.
Oh, we may have to invite you to the shareholders meeting then, too. Fuck.
All right.
So, Red Mage, what's going on with you?
Honestly, there hasn't been a whole lot of progress on mine. I've been kind of struggling. Basically, I mean, there's been a lot of IRL drama to cut it short. I was kind of mentioning this beforehand, but this job that I'm working has kind of been a roller coaster of, am I going to stay here? Am I going to get fired? And just so much that, like, when I get off work, I just literally don't have the creative energy to do, like, anything. But in I guess the free time, because I have the original aesthetic that I was going with, this new Monster Rancher-esque game is 8-bit. So I've been playing around with beepbox.com or .org or .net or whatever the hell it is. And it's just, lets you make old school 8-bit songs, and I've been actually really enjoying that. So I'm actually putting together now a soundtrack for the game, at least. So there's some progress being made, just nothing visual.
All right, cool. Oh, that's that one where you have, like, the grid, and then you click to put different sounds in different spots and move the bar across the screen, right? Yeah,
and then it's got up to like 8 different channels for each thing, and you can, like, change, like, the sound font, I guess, would be the closest approximation, so it can sound like different games and stuff. Because apparently, that one I linked in chat on, like, 2 weeks ago, my wife was like, "Yeah, this sounds like the Jaws theme from the Jaws NES game," and I was like, "Huh, yeah, it is the same notes, isn't it?" Like, it's a totally different melody, but it's like it's the same sound font. So, but I've been really enjoying messing with that, and I didn't think I would actually like music theory, but the more I actually, like, learn about it, the more I enjoy it. So, but no actual progress made, just mostly me dicking around. But I will know next week for sure if I'm going to stay at this job, and if so, progress will resume once I can breathe and know what the hell my life is happening again.
Oh, perfect. All right, Adam, you working on anything at the moment?
Just waiting for the beginning of July so I can do NaNoWriMo, but I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to be able to do because, I'm getting married in September, which basically means A, I have no free time, and B, I am broke. Not to mention the fact that 52-hour work weeks pretty much every week until September. So, yay!
Yay! All right.
Yep. That sounds like a wedding. I just did that last year and got married in September, so I feel you. I'm still paying off the credit card where a lot of the charges went.
Well, hey, Adam, at least you won't be for lack of money before the wedding.
Yes, 52-hour work weeks. But, I need the money, so I can't complain that much.
That's true.
Let's see. And Adam, if you listened to the last podcast, if you wanted to add anything to what you heard, you're free to do so now.
All right. I have not heard last week's podcast, so I have nothing to add.
Perfect. We'll cut to the subject then, because I'll save my advice for later, because it's long advice and Adam has to go to bed. We're going to go straight into voice acting in games. And it's not a new thing, really. I remember being in first, second grade, and there was a series of kids' games called Thinkin' Things on PC, where you would do, like, these little activities with, like, matching shapes and colors and the little monster people, the critters, and it had voices in that. But voice acting only really took off on console games around the PlayStation era when suddenly you have all of this disk space.
Yeah.
So I think that voice acting can help enrich a game, and I also think that it's one of those modern conveniences because there are more people that would rather listen to someone's voice than try and make one up in their heads for every character.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and there are still a lot of games that don't have voice acting just for that reason, because a lot of people would much rather, think of a character's voice up in their head. Like, other than the newest one, it sounds like, if you've seen the trailer, every single Legend of Zelda game has not had any voice acting unless you count ha or whatever other sounds that they make.
Yeah, usually that's something that kind of like a lot of the Fire Emblem games do too. They don't give full lines to them, but they give like little quips, just kind of like just about what they're trying to say, like in that same tone.
My friends.
Or what? That's my favorite. Whenever someone's playing a Fire Emblem game, whenever anybody says what, I have to immediately parrot it in the most obnoxious way possible. But that was present even on like the like Ocarina of Time, like because when you're talking to Zelda, she gives like the little hms and ha's whenever she's talking, just to kind of give you the theme. Yes, and the Ganon laugh, just to kind of give you the vibe of what just kind of what they sound like without actually giving voice acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that gives you the baseline of what emotion they're trying to convey, but also allows you to make Ganon as evil as you want in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you just kind of use what other snippet of voice that they give, and you kind of form their voice around that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Which is an interesting way to do it, but I don't know. I'm kind of an all or none type of mentality. If you're gonna have voice acting, you should have all voice acting, unless it's bad.
That's bad.
Almost a Jill sandwich.
It's still probably not even the worst video game voice acting I've ever heard.
I actually think that Tales of Symphonia tackled voice acting really well, because the cutscenes and the important dialogue scenes where you mash the button to have the speech bubbles come up, all the important stuff is voiced, but the extraneous stuff is not voiced. So if you're just wandering around town, clicking on things, it isn't wasting any more of your time than it has to. That's fair. That was one of my main complaints with the Sam and Max Telltale reboot is the people that made it, you could tell a lot of love and care was put in, but because they put, a whole skit and voice acting into every single object, I stopped, looking around because there was just so much and it took so much time. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see that.
Yep.
So when was the first time you guys heard voice acting in a video game?
Ooh, that's tough. I can tell you the first time I heard it in a video game where I actually noticed it. Okay. As I've said on these podcasts before, the two first video games I ever owned were Super Mario 64 and Star Fox 64. And Star Fox 64 surprisingly had quite a bit of voice acting in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I sure did.
Android's enemy is my enemy. Me and my friends back in the day spent a lot of time trying to figure out if Slippy was a girl or not. We weren't sure. And for some people, that debate lasts to this day.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's still an argument that happens.
Yeah.
Mine was and I'm actually not sure if it was actually quote unquote voice acting, but it was a voice clip in Bad Dudes for NES. When you beat a level, there is a really, really poor, 2-bit quality audio clip of "I'm bad" at the end of the level. So technically, I guess that counts. But the first one that I ever actually played that a lot of voice acting was the original Silent Hill,
okay.
Which has some good, some actually pretty good lines, and then it's got, stuff like radio. There's something up with that radio.
Well, now that you mention, if we're not really talking about just the first example of any sort of voice acting we've heard in a video game, then I'm probably going to have to say, I don't remember which one it was, because this was in the arcade all those years ago, but Mortal Kombat, fatality. I always remember that.
That's true.
Oh man, I love the PlayStation era because if you look at any worst voice acting list, you see a couple of gems like Mega Man 8. Mega Man, we have to stop at the Dr. Wowie. Like, did you only have time for one take? But,
hey, it's happy hour. Come on, man, just let him say his shit.
But then you have a couple where. So you have, like, Lunar, Silver Star, and then you have Rhapsody, A Musical Adventure, and both games had singing as a prominent part of it. So they needed a good singer, and then they said, oh shit, they're good at voice acting too, we're going to need to bring some good voice actors in.
Right.
Yeah, because Lunar had a relatively small cast, but they all did a really good job, I think.
Yeah,
I think so
for
too.
sure. Yeah, especially it was one of like the first main ones that had like really solid voice acting. Yeah, for sure.
God.
Because then there's like for GameCube, there's Baten Kaidos, which is a terrible. Well, the game itself actually isn't that bad, but you need to turn off the voice acting to play the game. Thankfully, they give you the option because it's ear bleeding to listen to.
God,
I can think of a GameCube game that's a lot like that. So, I'm not a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan, but I played a lot of, Sonic 2 Battle or Sonic 2 Adventure or whatever.
Yep,
the one that had Shadow in it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
The voice acting is not all that good in that game.
No.
It's really not. Not even Shadow, because you think it'd be really easy just get a video game voice actor to play a tough guy, but don't tell him he's a hedgehog.
I promise you, revenge.
He's gonna get his ass whooped in the next death battle, by the way.
Oh man, dude, I played the hell out of Sonic Adventure 2, and I like the voice acting to me. I played it when I was 14. It was all right, but the lip syncing is so god awful. They didn't even attempt to match the words to the lip syncing. You have like the Godzilla dub problem of people still moving their mouths after the people have stopped talking.
Yeah.
Like, look, if you're gonna make me spend like 45 minutes on this stupid Knuckles level, the least you could do is match your mouth to your words.
I found him. What else was Sonic Adventure 2? Fucking... Oh, Sonic. Sonic has a really dumb line. So there's, times when he...
Wow, he's fast! He's using the Chaos Emeralds to warp!
Oh God. Okay, one of you has to help me with this. I don't care which one of you.
Okay, I'll do it. I found you, faker!
Faker? You're comparing yourself to me? Ha! You're not even good enough to be my...
I'll make you eat those words! Yeah! There can be only one!
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Yeah. I love that about Sonic Adventure 2. Also, there's one specific line where like Sonic will like jump off a spring or hit a ramp or something. He doesn't say Yahoo. He says Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Yep. I remember that.
Yahoo.
Yahoo. Like you look, that is a guy from America saying Yahoo. Like, don't you know what Yahoo is? Did they have to shorten it? Like what?
That's yeah. I mean that's early voice acting in a nutshell, though.
Yep.
Thankfully, it got better in the PS2 era.
Voice acting or Sonic?
No, voice acting. Sonic just got progressively worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So I hear Generations is okay. I haven't played it though.
It is. I don't think it helps with Sonic specifically that they change voice actors every game.
That's true.
Yeah. So what with the PS2 was it? Because PS2 had the vast majority of the RPGs. I think that's probably what pushed the envelope there.
I think so too. I think it's about right. But
yeah, because one of my favorite games, which I've lost, and I'm gonna have to buy the remake apparently. Odin Sphere has like some of the best voice acting, like hands down, of any game I've even heard like now.
Oh wow!
So, it's a graphically beautiful game. The voice acting's spot on. The music is really good. It's just a little boring to play sometimes. is about its only flaw, but it's a really good game. And they have a remake out, so I'm gonna have to buy that because I have no idea where my original copy went.
I'm glad they're remaking this stuff so we don't have to emulate a PS2 and try and get that to work to play these things anymore.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. You know what's funny is like the voice acting PlayStation period kind of coincides with the early anime period too, where you have these people that are kind of breaking in, like Slayers and Pokemon. That kind of stuff is starting to get popular. Sailor Moon too, coming out of Canada.
Yep, and I mean, it's not like the 80s dubbed anime, because I mean that's still on Godzilla tier, but. But yeah, some of the stuff that actually started to get mainstream, is about the same time as the PS1, GameCube era.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
But I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of early anime besides good old Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of anime voice acting, and particularly anime RPG voice acting, so what are your guys' thoughts on the infamous Final Fantasy X Tidus laughing scene? Yeah, that one. Like, on the one hand, I get it's really hard to listen to. I think after the first time I played that game and I heard that, every single time I've gone through and played that scene, I shut off my TV. And I waited. I gave it a count of 30, and if they were still doing it, I would shut it off again.
Oh, jeez.
But on the other hand, recently, James Arnold Taylor, who's the voice of Tidus, and he is very much a prolific YouTuber now, he kind of explained, like, it's supposed to sound really, really bad and obnoxious. I'm like, yeah, but when you make something really bad and obnoxious on purpose, it's still really bad and obnoxious.
I agree. I think the problem is that because it's a Japanese game, they didn't have the ability to edit the scene, because I've seen fake laughs be used, like if everyone's going through a stressful period, someone will make a stupid or dirty joke, or someone will start laughing anyhow, and then everyone kind of, the mood gets lightened up a bit.
Right.
But the way that scene goes, it's the Japanese mentality of breaking the tension, which doesn't work in America really well. But they tried. Right. But like Adam said, if you make something bad on purpose, it's still bad.
Pretty much.
See, I've only played through. Well, I played through the game twice technically. Once solo, and then once me and two friends basically each took. Well, I took a team of 3. No, I took a team of 3. The other one just took Yuna, just to like max out everybody's stats. Like we just ran around and fought and got everybody maxed out, but just because, and got all the epic weapons and fought in the Coliseum against all the super bosses, and then we got bored and quit before beating the game.
It doesn't sound like you're missing out on anything by not beating the game.
No. I mean, I beat it once on my own, and it's got like the most anticlimactic final battle of all time. Wow,
it is literally. It sounds like the final boss literally does nothing except heal itself.
Right, and if you do go down to like one of the enemy Aeons, you just get re-raised. Yeah. Like you can't lose. So it's really, really boring.
Oh wow, that's kind of like we were having a roulette movie night where we went to a pawn shop and bought movies we knew nothing about.
Oh yeah, and this was a good day.
Yes, I ended up with a movie called Detonator, and it starred Pierce Brosnan before he was James Bond, and Sean Connery long after he was James Bond. And
that wasn't Sean Connery.
It wasn't?
Patrick Stewart.
Oh, Patrick Stewart. Thank you. And he was never James Bond. But basically, there's a bomb, and like Pierce Brosnan's job is to find this bomb and keep it from detonating, hence Detonator. And this movie is so, like, it's intriguing, but it's kind of slow and boring because it's an 80s budget action flick. So we're just fast-forwarding through and skipping chapters to find the good parts and the explosions. We finally get to the end. Pierce Brosnan goes to disarm the bomb. It was already disarmed. The bomb was never going to go off. So what was the point of the movie? All of this murder, all of this bloodshed, all these explosions.
I don't know, just some sort of, just take on life, and just that at the end of the day, nothing really matters anyway.
We're all specks of dust on a pale blue dot.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude.
So, who are your guys' favorite voice actors? For me, I kind of grew up right around the Toonami days, so I have a soft spot for basically anyone that showed up on Toonami, whether their show was niche or not. But I remember like Steve Blum. I remember Veronica Taylor because she was on both Pokemon and Slayers. Then there's a couple of the Funimation voice actors and the ADV. Like Lucy Christian did both Funimation and ADV work. She's great. Hilary Haig, Greg Ayres. Mainly those last two because they're both in Chrono Crusade, which is awesome. But yeah,
Chrono Crusade is awesome.
Yeah. Well, for me, there are two that I really need to talk about. And I'll try and keep it brief. But first off, if I'm talking about all-time favorite video game voice actors, I got to talk about David Hayter.
Ooh, yep.
Because, you know, he's famous for being Solid Snake, of course, but he actually has a pretty good resume of voice acting under his belt. But everybody knows David Hayter. I have a guy that really surprised me when I find out that he did this game, because he generally doesn't do video games. But, so... You guys, I'm assuming you both have seen Star Wars.
What, the newest
the original New Hope Star Wars.
Oh, that
yeah,
thing.
okay.
Yeah, it was kind of big in the early 80s. I think I've heard of it.
So, Porkins, who is the really overweight, chubby X-Wing pilot at the end of Star Wars A New Hope that dies pretty early on.
Okay.
He also plays... Detective Eckhart or whatever in Batman, the first one, the 1989 Batman. You know, the fat guy that gets shot by Jack Nicholson right away. You know, he's been in a couple of new movies, but surprisingly, I'm not sure if he's done any other voice acting, but he voiced a character in one of my top 10 favorite games of all time, Eternal Darkness.
That's a good game, too.
Yeah, and it's such a good game. He plays a character who's, you know, typecast as a chubby fat guy. But this chubby fat guy can kick your ass because he's a chubby fat guy running around the 1700s with a pair of flintlocks and a saber. And he's a doctor. And he has these... Basically, when you find a monster in that level, because in Eternal Darkness every character has a different level, in his level, when you find a monster, you can perform an autopsy on them, and you'll get a voice acting snippet of basically him describing... what the fuck is wrong with this unholy eldritch creature that he just killed and why this shouldn't happen. You know, and it's brilliant voice acting. Like, he's really good. So, that's what I think.
Infested by demons from hell.
Yeah, here, I'll post that in our chat window so you guys can watch it at your leisure if you so choose.
Hey, speaking of Star Wars real quick, how about Mark Hamill?
Oh, fuck yeah, Mark Hamill. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I'd say if Mark Hamill wasn't famous, he'd probably be talking with us about this right now.
Seriously, fuck.
Yeah, because he is a huge nerd.
Yeah.
And we love him for it.
It's true. It's very true.
One of my favorite stories about him is when he was doing the Joker voice for Batman the Animated Series. The series was really popular, so obviously they made a lot of toys and stuff for it, and there was, you know, these old toys where you push the button and they say a line or whatever, and the toys didn't pay as much as, you know, being an actual voice actor, so most people didn't actually take it up and they let other actors do the voices. Mark Hamill was like, I don't care if it pays less, I'm the Joker and I'm going to be the voice on this toy.
Yeah, I totally agree. So speaking of, here's a funny voice acting thing regarding Mark Hamill and the Joker. You may know this, you may not, but originally Mark Hamill was not going to be the Joker in the animated series. The original person they got to play the Joker is Tim Curry.
Oh, wow.
And I guess they recorded one episode and they decided that he was just too damn scary as the Joker. And they already cast Mark Hamill as a one-off character for an episode. and they asked him if he wanted to do it again as the Joker, and, he's a huge comic book nerd, so he's like, hell yeah, let's do it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I don't know if that recording of Tim Curry as the Joker exists somewhere, but oh my god, if it does, I would listen to it several times and then form a religion based around it.
What could have been?
What could have been?
Oh man. If you wanted a dark Joker, John DiMaggio did a pretty good job, and I believe it's Under the Red Hood.
Yes, he did, and that is a great film.
Yeah, Dreadlocks Joker.
So, yeah, no, I was not expecting him to be a good Joker, because honestly, every time I hear John DiMaggio, I hear one of two characters. I either hear Bender, or I hear Marcus Phoenix.
You know what's funny is, because I beat Valkyria Chronicles a couple months ago, I keep thinking of him as Jan.
Oh, is that really? That was him?
Yeah, John DiMaggio was Jan. The
Really?
big burly guy wearing the lipstick going, hit please!
Yeah, the big gay guy, yeah. Dude, Jan was awesome. He was always on my team.
Yeah, I'm getting lost in his muscles.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, also, another person that I can't get Adam to shut up about, like, the guy who voices Largo is Fred Tatasciore, and I still don't know what the hell Fred Tatasciore is voiced in, but every time he's in something, Adam goes, oh, there's Fred Tatasciore! And
Okay, seriously, I'm going to show you the Fred Tatasciore IMDb page, and you can tell me how long it is. Okay, as an actor, he has 545 credits.
fuck.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he just voiced Soldier 76 in Overwatch. Seriously. And I'm looking at his voice acting page. We're talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Avengers, Family Guy, Ratchet and Clank, frickin' Scooby-Doo, Kung Fu Panda, and on and on and on and on.
Nice.
Are we sure he's just one man?
I'm pretty sure he's just one man. I don't know. It's just...
I don't
Yeah,
know. See, y'all have like all these stories of like all these different voice actors. I don't really pay attention really to all that. There's only one voice actor that's ever like I still have lines from the game in my head to this day, which is and if y'all played the Legacy of Kain series,
Yes.
Simon Templeman.
Simon Templeman. He is pretty awesome. I liked him a lot in Dragon Age Origins because he played the bad guy in that, and he does a really good evil British guy voice.
He does. He does a very good evil British guy voice. But yeah, like a good 80% of Kane's lines from the very first game are like burned into my memory. Like I can repeat the entire beginning like verbatim.
Like, did you know that there are outtakes for the Soul Reaver games where they have Simon Templeman and Tony J, and they're just BSing, and it's really funny.
I have not seen those.
Okay, I'll post those here because
Okay, yeah, I'll have to listen to those later.
They make me happy.
But yeah, he's the only voice actor that's ever resonated enough for me to like actually pay attention to who they are.
All right, here we go. Post that.
He is pretty freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is really good.
Because that was on like a PS1 game. The very first Blood Omen was PS1, and the voice acting on that game was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Also, I'm still looking at Fred Tatasciore's page, and I'm looking. We got World of Warcraft, we got Lego Batman, we got Thundercats, we got Kingdom Hearts, we got Mass Effect, we got Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, we got Spider-Man. And on, do I dare continue?
I think we're good.
Are you sure? Because I can keep going.
No, I'm pretty excited. I think I'm all right.
You've only made it to like 2014. We've got a long way. You're good. We're good.
All right.
So, Red Mage, if you've only had one voice actor resonate with you, how important do you think voice acting is in a game? You know, does it improve your immersion, or do you think you do better without it?
See, it's very dependent because, like I said earlier, it's kind of an all or nothing sort of thing for me. If a game has a text box, I mean, I don't mind reading. I love reading. So if the game has a text box and they just kind of, give like we were talking about before, like the little bits and pieces of their voice alongside it, and I know we bring this up every goddamn podcast, but in Undertale, where they have the little voice blips that kind of give you an idea of what the character sounds like without actually doing voice acting, those, that's fine to me. But if you're going to do voice acting, it really helps me with the immersion. Again, going back to Odin Sphere, because like that's one of the few games I've played in recent years. I mean, it's a PS2 game, but I'm still recently playing it, but it drew me in so much because of the visuals and the voice acting, and the storytelling was also just good. So if you're gonna have voice acting, as long as it's good and pretty much everything is it really helps me with the immersion. But at the same time, if things are only partially voice acted, that actually like takes me way the hell out. Like if there's scenes that are voice acted and then there's other main scenes that aren't, that just kills it for me. Yeah, like the Tales of Symphonia were like the offshoot conversations were not. That's fine. Conversations with NPCs are not. That's fine. But if the main scenes aren't, like some of them are and some of them aren't, it kills it for me, like immediately. Just an instant dead game boner.
Like, this is supposed to be important, but they aren't saying anything.
Right.
All right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. I kind of have a similar opinion where if it's good, great, but depending on what kind of game it is, like honestly, in terms of like if it's an RPG, like especially a Japanese RPG, I would almost prefer no voice acting. But if it's like an action game, then or a more modern RPG, then I would say yeah, sure, have voice acting as long as it's good voice acting. Because I think we can all agree that it's better to not have voice acting than to have bad voice acting.
Oh no, definitely.
Preach. Oh man, it sounds like voice acting is, I guess, having it in an action game works a little bit better because Odin Sphere is an action game, right?
I mean, kind of. It's like a platforming beat 'em up RPG food making game. I mean, that's kind of just an aside. The primary gameplay though is actually like a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Okay, yeah. I think it would be easier to fully voice a game like that as opposed to an RPG with novels of text.
Well, that's the thing with because the battle scenes, there's like no voice acting at all. But in between each battle scene, there's like just like it's like a play, really. There's just scenes of just dialogue back and forth. They change scenes back and forth. I mean, there's a lot of dialogue in there.
Wow.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, because my favorite example of voice acting being done well would be Spec Ops: The Line.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about famous voice actors. How about Nolan frickin' North?
He's for real. So Nolan North jumped on Spec Ops: The Line. He really wanted to do it. And he wanted to do it like 2 years before the game came out. And the cool thing about Spec Ops: The Line is the main character changes what they say as the game progresses. And I've probably mentioned this on a podcast a long time ago, but I'm going to say it again.
So.
I'm going to say it again because it's fucking awesome. So, as the game progresses, the main character, Walker, gets more and more distressed with the situation. He and his comrades are getting stressed out. They're in Dubai. People are shooting at them. Tensions are running high. So, at the beginning of the game, they're all professional. You shoot someone, he goes tango down. If he gets hurt, he says nothing. You see the red marker up like in every other Call of Duty. By the end of the game, if someone shoots him, he goes, "You motherfucker!" He gets mad. He gets like straight up mad.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a brilliant game. It's on Steam for probably pretty cheap by now, so we recommend it wholeheartedly.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm kind of an anti first person shooter.
That's
I
the
don't know.
thing. That's kind of the great thing about Spec Ops: The Line is that it's a military shooter for people who hate military shooters. Like if you despise military shooters, then you're going to get a kick out of Spec Ops: The Line because the entire game is basically just a deconstruction of the entire genre and how there are so many things about it that are just so stupid, and how nobody really acts this way. Like, none of this gung-ho, America, we're the good guys, we gotta do the right thing. There's not a lot of that. In fact, there's the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, and also it's a third-person shooter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the reason they do that is because not only does Walker get more and more pissed off, but as he's adventuring throughout the day, he gets sandier and bloodier, and his armor gets more and more scarred. Mm-hmm. Like, you actually see his model change throughout the game as he gets more and more effed up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really cool. Like, seriously, just go play the game. Seriously.
I've got, like, literally, like, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus games on my plate, so we'll see if I can get to it.
Typical backlog.
Back
to RPGs. I want to talk about Lunar again, because Lunar, I think it had the voice acting when it was on the Sega Saturn too, but on the PS1, like, because it's the PS1, they do the Tales of Symphonia thing where they kind of sprinkle it in, but even less because it's on PS1 and not GameCube. So you open with, like, this cutesy song from Luna, and then you have Alex talking about how he looks up to the great Dragon Master Dyne, and then it kind of just throws you in. But, there's, like, 2 songs in the game that Luna sings, but they're both great.
I know. I've been in the same room with Cody where we watched one of these songs from Lunar, and how old are you, Cody? 27?
Yeah.
26?
I'm 27 now.
You're 27. So at the time you were 26, and you were weeping.
Shut up.
And this wasn't. I'm just saying that.
But I wasn't.
He totally weeped.
I wasn't weeping. It was onions. There's a difference. I wasn't like tears out. I wasn't like making a river in your house. I just was cutting onions. There's a difference.
There were no onions in my computer room, which is nowhere near the kitchen. Like, here, Cody, let's watch Lunar 2 and cut onions. All right.
But, anywho, yeah, like, the boat song is great. It conveys exactly what it needs to, and it comes in at the right moment. But also, the performance is awesome. You know?
I actually, because I have it I'm sadly playing it on iOS where there's no voice acting. But all the cuts there, thankfully. But you would think that on an iOS where, you've got phones with a ridiculous amount of storage where, they could have the whole thing, but there's none. There's no voice acting anywhere to be had. But no, I just, got past the boat scene probably, I don't know, a couple days ago, and yes, that was a very good scene.
It really captures the magic, I think. And
it does.
And I'm really glad they blew the extra $20 or whatever on good VAs for that.
Yes. Because it's not like they got celebrity voice actors for that. They got who sounded good and who would work for a decent price.
Yeah. Theater people. Yeah, because, Symphony of the Night is regarded as a classic PS1 game despite the bad voice acting.
Amen.
But RPGs aren't noted for their gameplay so much as their atmosphere, immersion, and story. And having good VA is extremely important to all 3 of those aspects.
Yeah.
Yes.
Funny fact. So, speaking of Symphony of the Night, I love Symphony of the Night. It's easily my favorite Castlevania game. One of my favorite games ever. They redid it they didn't really redo it. They made it an extra on the PSP release of, Castlevania Circle of Blood as an unlockable. The whole Symphony of the Night so you could play it on your PSP. And things were really, really good until I heard the voice acting. They updated the voice acting.
Really?
And you know what? I'm going to say it right now. It sounds better, but at the same time, it sounds a lot worse. They worsened it by making it good.
So it's no longer so bad it's good, it's just bad.
Yeah, it's just kind of here's the thing, it's not even all that bad on its own, but honestly, I've gotten so accustomed and used to the bad voice acting that I miss it. It's like getting an updated remake of a movie with all these special effects. I'm like, man, the old one looked like crap. I want to see the old one again.
So you want to see Jabba the Hutt as a giant puppet again?
Yeah. And you don't?
I forgot what he looked like. How do you guys feel about? I think it was like House of the Dead Overkill or something. They had it was the Wii one, and they made it like a cheesy B movie on purpose with the bad VA and everything.
Well, I feel like if that's what you're going for, then you got to go for it.
Well, yeah, because that's the theme. That's your atmosphere. So no, totally.
Exactly. You know, if that's the kind of project you're gonna pursue, then by God, you need to go at it with every bit of gusto you have in order to make it work. Because if you don't ham it up enough, then it's just bland and passe.
You're tearing me apart, Goldman!
There was nothing we could do. All right. So let's see. Trying to fill the blank void of silence that we have. I suppose I don't know. What would you like to do, Cody? You're hosting us.
I just like seeing where this goes. I love talking about voice acting because I wanted to do one about it. Because it's basically everywhere now. And especially with... You had like I guess it's SAG-AFTRA, I believe, that covers voice actors.
Yeah.
There was a big vote about half a year ago about like, hey, should we go on strike? And there was now the guild didn't actually go on strike, but it was something like 97% of voice actors were in favor of a strike if one were to happen, because I guess conditions have been getting worse for VA because you're doing 2 4-hour shifts and you're going from studio to studio, and because they're doing a lot of video games, there's a lot of blood-curdling screams that you're required to do every time you go from one venue to the next.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. You would have to be some kind of savant to be able to do blood-curdling scream every single day. Like, I have trouble doing Princess Lilac's voice for Defeat the Darkness, every once in a while.
Oh, thank you, good sir.
Thank you so much for saving me. And now I can't do it again for another week.
God. So that's why it takes so long to do Defeat the Darkness.
Yeah, I think I've admitted this before, but I mean, as far as like anime goes, I watch trash shonen. That's like my genre, which is full of just the constant screaming and the yelling and I can't even just imagine how much wear and tear that takes on somebody's voice to do that. For stuff like that, it boggles my mind. And so yeah, if they're doing like all these games with all these screaming, that's even worse.
For 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year.
Yeah. That's awful. Yeah. I can't really blame them for that then if they're if they're talking about it.
Yeah, because I can only imagine, there's a couple of them that do cartoons or dub anime, but those aren't all the time, so they go do some video game VA, and then they scream, and then they have to go back to doing their kooky voices for the cartoon, but then they sound like they got back from a death metal concert because they can't talk right anymore.
Metal. It comes from hell.
Yep.
Yeah, I can never see where that's screwing stuff up, but I'm one of those, and this is one of the reasons where I threw it in the goofy chat, I don't know, like a week or two ago, just lacking the element of design for making a game for me, because like there's all that stuff like that I just wouldn't even think about, wouldn't even consider, wouldn't even begin to cross my mind as part of like where things all come from. So I'm trying to just kind of focus on what I can do rather than what you can't, which is hard.
Yeah, because when you're trying to make a video game, and I've run into this too, you come face to face with your limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been like a smart kid growing up, and I'm not used to having stuff be beyond my understanding. I'm not used to failure. If I want something, I can usually smart my way into getting it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But there are some things that are just beyond me, like making music. Oh, I just have to make some music, but then you have to download a program and then do all this stuff, and then music theory, and then make sure you didn't steal it from somewhere else on accident. Oh, oh shit, this is Yesterday by the Beatles. I gotta scrap the whole fucking thing.
That's a lot of what just running into with mine, just because, I mean, even the most recent demo that I put out, I don't know, like 6 months ago, I mean, it was it was all Dragon Quest graphic or Final Fantasy graphics, because I'm a bad artist. I don't do music. I can tell stories and I can write characters. That's pretty much all I got. So
that sounds like me. Don't ask me to write music, but I can try and write you a story as best I can. Just seriously, don't ask me to write music.
So now I'm looking into visual novels, which might do with friends. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what the future holds.
Indeed.
You know what goes really good with a visual novel? Voice acting.
Wow. And it all comes together.
Wow. Full circle.
Yep. So I think we've hit our hour. I think we're good. I want to end with a piece of advice as a semi-accomplished web series producer. If you are looking for voice actors for your project, for your game or whatever, there are people much smarter than me that say not to, they would rather you look for established connections, direct connections through Twitter, that kind of stuff. But if you have to go through voice acting labs or behind the voice actors, you have to know a couple things. For one, your audition thread should be perfect. It is your first impression to every voice actor looking at your project. You have to sell them on the project, you have to get them motivated, and you have to provide as much information as possible. This character, what are they like? What's their personality? Do you want a high voice, a low voice? Do you want them to sound like a certain character from some other show? You have to give them all this stuff. You have to make a nice big thing. It has to be big, okay? You have to show everyone that not only do you have the information, not only are they hyped, but you are willing to work just as hard as they are to make sure the series is a success. Number 2, have as much done as possible before you cast the voice actors. With Defeat the Darkness, I spent 2 years actually programming the damn thing, and then I cast everybody, and then I said, okay, you'll have your script in 2 weeks. And 15 days later, they had their script. I had to change a couple things, but I was waiting on someone for the lines anyway, so I just used that as a convenient excuse to make the ending better. But, neither here nor there. That's kind of a special exception. But, again, I didn't just post up a thread going, hey guys, I'm dubbing Naruto, I need all the characters. No, I did everything from point A to point Z, and then whatever imaginary letters are beyond Z. And then, final piece of advice, be kind. These people are taking time out of their day to do voice work for some stranger on the internet, that's you, for free. So give them the direction they need. Give them the time that they need. If they give you lines on time, thank them. If they get them to you a month late, thank them anyway, because they still got the lines done. And, if you're on Behind the Voice Actors or Voice Acting Alliance, they're amateurs just like you. If you help them, if you give them the tools they need to succeed, they will be that much better for you. You're helping each other out that way. And that's the best way, I think, to break in, is to learn and grow from other people. And really, that's it. Just be kind, be available, and prove you're willing to do the work. My series has taken over 2 years to fully release, but people still care. They're still keeping track, and I want to finish and succeed for them, and I want to give them a project they can be proud of.
Because, as soon as you invite them in, you're all part of the same team. You're all pushing for the same success. Even if they're only doing the voice acting, they're still part of the production for the entire thing. So regardless of how minor of a character they might be, their name is still probably going to be on it. So
exactly.
It's all, for sure.
And even Jeffrey Nix, a very patient man. He voiced the arena announcer, which didn't come into play until Act 3. So he waited a year and a half to hear himself in my series. But he did a great job. He deserved it, and he got in. I made sure that his episodes got done.
Yep.
But there you go. Just don't be a dick. If you're gonna be serious, be serious. If you're not gonna be serious, don't even post your audition thread, buddy. You're not ready.
Indeed.
All right. And with that, thank you all for listening to the special presentation of the RPGMG Maker the RPG Maker General Podcast, or the RPGMGP. This is Cody signing off.
This is Red Mage. See y'all later.
And this is Adam, and I still have a story to tell, unless we don't have time.
Go.
Alright, so, Sunday, we were at Spencer's Gifts, and apparently, they have cologne based off of DC comic book characters. And we were kind of checking them out to see, Cody and I were both like, I wonder which one smells like crap. And we were all checking it out. It was like, oh, the Batman one smells okay. Oh, the Green Lantern smells okay.
Yeah, so,
and then Cody,
so they have Batman, they have old Batman. So, like the Batman one, it smells kind of sweet. It's like the Adam West Batman. And then they have, like, the Ben Affleck bat symbol with the spray paint. That one smelled, like, musky and stuff.
But the point is that then Cody started to reach for the one that had the picture of the Joker on it. So naturally, I decided, no! You fool! What are you thinking? And then he kind of figured it out. It's like, oh, I get it. I get it now. Thank you, Adam. You're welcome. My job here is done.
My hero!
Because you remember the 89 Batman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beauty products?
Yep. That's, I don't know. That sounds like Spencer's to me.
Yeah. I'm surprised, like, this sells? Really? Are people this crazy? Like, yes, I want to smell like the Joker.
So cool and edgy, man. Don't you want to smell like the Joker?
No, I don't. Anyway, that's enough of that. We should probably get going, and I probably need to go to bed.
Yeah. Was.
So.
I say as I took a nap earlier.
That's
All
called
right.
hypocrisy.
All
And
right.
I'm full of it.
Exactly. Anyway, I guess this is us signing off again. Yep. I'm proud of you if you managed to listen this long.